All right, welcome to another episode, an important episode, a special episode for us of How I Met Your Mortgage. This is episode 1 of our 6th season of doing our video cast and podcast. Very exciting stuff for us. And as always, I'm your host, Adam Smith with Just the Tips Coaching. And with us pretty much as always is our marketing director, another one of our amazing coaches, Jen Waybor. Happy New Year, Jen.
Happy New Year, Adam. I actually haven't seen you since the New Year.
No, well, like this, we do
yeah.
some video chatting and we get together when we're coaching our coaching clients, so on and so forth. But no, I have not seen you in person in what seems like a good long while. So here we are, and we have a really cool guest for you guys. A repeat guest, although you wouldn't know it because so many things have happened in her life since we had her on the podcast last. Must be the first episode of the year.
Yeah,
Adam's clearly not had enough coffee. Welcome to the show, Megan Bello.
Now Megan's scared of you.
All right. Well, she was scared of me to begin with. Now it's an audio thing. She'll be scared just when she hears my voice. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
You want to tell us about all the exciting things that have happened to you since we last had you on the show?
Yeah. I mean, the first and probably most obvious is that I had my daughter back in September.
Wow.
So that was obvious.
All right. So
all the cliches.
The bassinet and the glider are not for your husband.
No.
Oh,
That's usually where she's at when I'm working.
Okay. Good. And you do have a husband.
I do have a husband.
That's also new since we had you on the show.
That is true. Yes. My boyfriend became my husband. We got married February of last year. So we're coming up on our first year anniversary next month, which is insane. And so he's come on board. He made it to be agent number 7 at my brokerage. And then I had another gal join just the beginning of this month. So I'm starting the year off with 8 agents, which is just super exciting. And then we're transitioning now as I begin to continue to go to brokerage, where he is taking over the residential real estate side. So it's like when you move out and like you find all of your stuff you never got to, that like I'm a real estate coach, I help my agents like do their business, and I'm like, you should do these things, and like all the things I haven't done are really coming to light now, which is as I sort of pass the torch over to him. So that's been really fun.
I think that is fun, and I think it's really important. And one of the things I want to focus on in our conversation today is that not only are there some major life events that have happened since you were on the show last, like getting married and having a baby. These things are hardly negligible. Let's put it that way. Not baby steps. Those are big steps. But you've made a big shift in your work, basically from being a real estate agent to, in essence, being a sales manager for your real estate agents. That's a totally different animal. We're no longer really heavy focused on generating leads for buyers and sellers. We're generating leads for more recruiting type purposes. And there are a lot of people that are going to be in our audience, both viewership and listenership, that aren't going to see the details of how you and I interact, how you and Jen and I interact. And it's basically Megan being relentless. You posted that you were going to be on the podcast. Somebody said, oh my God, I would love to get in real estate. And boom, there goes Megan saying, I am down. I will show you. I will teach you. Come join my brokerage. Let's hit it. And this is all in the span of like the last 24 hours. So it's really cool shit to see that mind shift with you. It's not an easy one to make. We make a pretty significant change in our coaching program. And for those of you that aren't regulars, our end goal for our coaching clients is to help you build a repeat and referral business that you can walk away from someday while it still pays you. One of the big pieces of that puzzle, and near the end of our program, near the end of our content, is team structure. building up ops, building up sales, so on and so forth, so that you can eventually reach that goal. And I will tell you what, the vast majority of our coaching clients hit a stumbling block at that point, hit a speed bump where letting go of some of the work, really changing from having a job, which is what you do when you're a real estate agent, a loan originator, whatever the case may be, because you got to get up every morning and do your job. You got to find buyers, you got to find sellers, you got to find borrowers. I think it was Paul Harvey, right? Was a realtor that said you wake up every day unemployed. So a lot of people really struggle to make that shift that you made so naturally, so organically, that Jen and I are in awe. We think it's fantastic because we watch so many people struggle with it. I still struggle with it, without equivocation. Certainly on the sales side, I know how to build an ops team in a pretty solid manner. But yeah, tell us what that looked like for you. Where did the big epiphany come from? What were the exercises and activities that went from lead generating Megan to sales and ops management Megan?
I think first of all, thank you so much for that compliment about the shifting, because I feel like it's just I don't feel like it's graceful or like I feel like social media is something I'm just beginning to sort of grasp as far as like you know, having your identity out there and those sorts of
Like
things.
a little branding, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
I may know a couple people that could help you.
I'm
All right, just say.
We've been talking
We have
Okay.
been talking
about some
All right.
JTT classes.
So I always knew I wanted to own my own brokerage, and I always knew I wanted to have my own company. When I was back, I took Matt Thompson. He taught my real estate course almost 8 years ago, and I was sitting in course with the other 20 people, agents in there. We're all gung ho. We're all going to drive BMWs in 6 months, and it's going to be great. And he's like, there will be like 2 of you that will make it. And I was like, I'm going to own a real estate company. He goes, no, there will be like 2 of you that make it. And I was like, sorry, y'all, like I'm one of those people. And
now there's only one. We already Megan was gonna do it, so only one person was left. Ouch.
Yeah, and I actually I don't know, I haven't, but it was I made a lot of friends. Like I'm still connected with a lot of people in that class, but so I always knew that this was like the end goal. So it was almost like the fuel for helping other agents was why I would lead gen to begin anyway, because I knew I had to do the thing to teach it. Because I didn't like having people when I was in sales jobs before and managers who were like, go do the thing that I don't want to do. Like, I'm not your assistant. Like I'm working, like, you know, so
no, that's part of the ops side. I can build up an ops team and pay them to do the things that I either don't want to do or don't make me a ton of money, right? That
right.
$20 an hour work, $30 an hour work, not the $200 an hour work. But yeah, let's not muddy that water. That's ops. That is not something a sales person does. That's not what a real estate agent does.
Right. I really wanted to focus, especially just this year. So I guess the last 6 months, I've just started, you know, shifting more on getting more in depth with each of my agents and sort of what they need, and getting more specific on what they're naturally good at again, and kind of then just sort of speaking about that, and then just trying to show up as vulnerably as possible as I can in social media, which I think was just so hard to do because everybody's like, nobody's criticizing you, but people are like, they are like, that's kind of a cop out from somebody, you know, as soon as you step out, there is going to be 5 or 6 people who are going to give you a negative opinion. So I think just taking,
you don't care.
One of my favorite quotes is, people are going to judge you anyway, so you might as well show up as who you are.
Totally.
Like, who cares?
yeah,
I think part of it is I'm just too tired to not show up authentically and transparently.
Right.
I just don't have the energy to put on airs or have a facade anymore.
right. Well, and I think I come from a place of more, I'm just like, and I think it's coming to light a lot more. Just not like everybody, but for me specifically, it's like I want to become, like, it's hard to be vulnerable. I'm worried about showing up because I'm worried about that rejection more so than anything else. So sort of leaning into that, being the person I wanted to be for myself, and then for my agents was sort of kind of trying to shift. I knew that if I wanted to lead agents, I had to put myself in positions where I was going to learn and constantly have the things to teach agents. So I got elected onto the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. I'm a car director there. I've been
shout out to D-Mark. Cool.
Yeah, I've been working with my board. So I've been doing that. I connect with other really awesome people in the industry, such as yourself and Jen. We go to your event once a quarter, and just sort of doing the things that the person who I'm working towards is already doing. So sort of doing those habits now to sort of get there, and then it's just growing. I'm connecting with each agent that I really truly believe I need to connect with at the right time, and like I love helping agents, and it's allowing me to, because while I was really good at, making 30,000 cold calls, the reason why I was good at 30,000 cold calls was because I like to have 1,000 different conversations. So I can take that skill and I can sit with an agent and be like, oh my goodness, you are such a skilled artist. You are such a good hostess. Why don't you have people over in your neighborhood once a month and do an art thing, and then put them in your CRM, and then follow up. And then, so helping agents get really specific on the marketing that really helps them shine and become their own person, because like you have to know your stuff, but people have to really trust you, to gain their business. So to help people show up authentically, I have to show up authentically. And it's just been really cool to see the last few months. The more I go, the more my agents grow as well. So that's been, probably the biggest thing is just the responsibility of, like if I'm leading these agents, I must be at my top for them to be able to reach to be at their greatest too,
Okay, there are a couple of really important things that you just talk about because it's, automatic for you. This is just how your brain works, but maybe not for our audience. Okay, I think one of the things that you are self-aware of, and now conveying to your team is this philosophy that Jen and I just drill into everybody's head about people wanting to know who you are, not what you do. So if there is that agent on your team that should be having the neighborhood people come in, hang out, have a drink, do an art project, I already know that this is somebody who is a neighbor, likes wine, likes art, does these projects. This is the kind of thing where we talk about people want to know who you are, not what you do. For all of you listening to my voice, people already know what you do. They know you're a real estate agent. They know you're a mortgage lender. They know you're an insurance agent, whatever the case may be. And if they don't, then you're already screwed. You got to go back to sales and marketing 101. But we don't have anybody in our audience that's going to be like that. The other piece of this puzzle that is really important, and I know it, again, it's just automatic for you and for Jen and for me, so on and so forth, is that making this shift, getting involved in different things, because being on the board at a local realtor board versus being an agent trying to find buyers and sellers still comes with tasks, with tactics, with techniques, with things that you have to be constant and consistent with in order to be successful. So the way that you've always operated, all these years that we've known you, you've been pretty regimented that way. You know what you need to be doing and you do it. You honor your calendar. You structure the things that you need to do and you just get them done. And for all of you that are still on the sales side, do that. You need to be spending an hour with your time in the box. Sorry, when I say that, I mean time being intentional on social media. We're hockey fans. We call it time in the box. Then do that. If you want to make this shift to being a managing broker, a broker owner, whatever the case may be, all you have to do is change out those tasks, change out those tactics and techniques, and still be constant and consistent about them. Honor your time blocking, respect your calendar, so on and so forth. But that's still the same MO. Still do the things you know you need to be doing. Do them constantly and consistently. They just happen to be different things. The framework is the same. So, yeah, sorry, Megan, but I wasn't going to let you get away with just kind of glossing over those things because they come so naturally to you, because they don't to most people.
No,
All
yeah,
right.
thank you.
All right, I'll give you the potato back. We'll go back to our game of hot potato here. We wanted you to talk anyway, but yeah, I wasn't gonna let you get away with that shit. Those are important things.
I agree. Yeah, it's showing up when what was I listening to? Something about like your feelings. Well, my mom actually used to say your feelings are liars. And just showing up when it doesn't matter how you feel. Like I might post this and this might alienate, like maybe I'll be rejected, like do it anyway, do the tasks. And I think that helps you with your vulnerability a little bit. If you can just be like, I'm just doing it. Like I'm just going to be vulnerable. And if everybody comes to my house and throws eggs at me because I'm dumb, I guess that's what happens. I don't know. Like we'll see. But in a lot of times, actually every time, there's always at least one person who's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you can relate, or oh my goodness, I needed this. And to like that's what's like, okay, yes, like because that's truly what we need to do. And even if agents we should all be connecting and helping each other, and as much now more than ever, in this industry, especially as to now, like there's no reason to not be connecting with every agent. If you're on the sales side, the buyers that are writing offers or your feedback, like there's no reason for us to not all come together, because statistically it's looking like the industry is going to shorten a little bit. So if you want to stay in this industry, you have to come to your community and come together. And I believe the ones who will do the work and come through won't see any issue and will probably see rise in their business. But
yeah, I think you just nailed it. Yeah, I don't think there's any secret that it's going to be a smaller pie, but that the people that are going to be successful are going to have bigger pieces. But yeah, you nailed it. It's the ones that'll work. If you're going to do the work, you're going to have success.
And I think working together and collaborating together, because as it gets smaller, the sort of attitude we had in these high, I'm not going to call these agents back, these lowly buyers agents, now it's a little bit shifted. Now, if you had a lot of listings and your listing's been sitting on for 2 weeks, all the buyers agents are like, hello.
Hey, here I am. Should we get into the weeds on how that looks with new home builders?
Right. Oh,
right?
I have so many.
I'm sorry, we're only paying 1%. No, I'm sorry, we're paying 0%.
Right.
And now, of course, builders are. Please bring your buyers.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's right. We have value. That's right. I remember that. Yeah, it's been I'm excited. This year is going to be a great year. I feel just agents, not even just in my brokerage, but everybody just in the industry who I've talked to you guys and other, I'm excited for this year. I think this is going to be necessary for the industry. I think this year is going to bring a lot of clarity to a lot of our businesses. I think we're going to I'm excited for 2023.
I am too. And actually, I think it's going to be for the people that will do the work, for the people that are prepared for cycles, which is basically all that it is. The whole thing is cyclical. Then I think this is actually going to be a better year, a bigger year, a more entertaining year than last year. I think last year, where a lot of people struggled, was actually the adjustment. We're humans. We don't like change. I get that. And I still kick myself. I think I should have made adjustments sooner than I did. And I think I made adjustments a hell of a lot better than the vast majority of our brethren. And I still should have seen the writing on the wall a little earlier, maybe, but I'm going to kick myself about it anyway, which is really dumb because you got to let the past be past. You guys listen to old Rafiki. I'll make a Lion King reference there. You got to let the past be past. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a really interesting year. Now, speaking from a perspective where I've been in this game for quite a while and have been a broker owner for coming up on 18 years, I think. It was spring of 05 that I started my brokerage. I did wear my 05 core Bronco jersey to the game yesterday, even. Glenn, Ashley, if you're watching or listening, thank you. Nice gift from some colleagues. But if I could survive only having a few years experience in the industry at the time, starting my own business, growing pains from that, having a new small business. Then a fairly significant crash in real estate and mortgages in 07, 08. So only a couple of years after that, and still be where we're at. There is a lifetime of lessons in there. So if I can impart any of that onto any of you, and I bring this shit up all the time, I know, but I had a student at a conference I was speaking at ask me, what's the one thing you would tell somebody to do to get where you're at? And I just said, work hard for 20 years. There's no magic potion. There's no unicorns. There's no shiny objects. You have to do the fucking work. That is really the bottom line. And Megan's doing it. Not only is Megan doing it while making a monumental shift from being a real estate agent to running a team, but she is doing it with all kinds of new things in her personal life. I'm guessing you're not getting a straight 8 hours of sleep every night with a new baby. And if we can do this, so can all of you. I am no rocket scientist. I promise you, by design, I'm never the smartest guy in the room, or second, or third, or fourth. It depends on how many people are in the room. But if I can do this kind of thing just with good work ethic, good time blocking, good calendar management, good consistency, constancy, transparency, authenticity, then so can all of you. It's really, I can't put enough emphasis on the fact that it sounds stupid when I say it over and over, but if I can do this, you can do this. That's really all there is to it. There is nothing special about Adam or Megan, I don't think. Well, we find Megan really special, but it's really those characteristics, those qualities, constant, consistent, transparent, authentic, that are making this sing like a well-oiled machine for us. Please do these things. Jen, probably for you too. I'm guessing that, well, in the time I've known you, where are we at? 3 years, 4 years, 3 decades?
Almost 4.
We've been
Wait,
married
it feels
for
like
20
40 years.
now. It feels like
I'm not 40, but it feels like 40 years.
Ouch. That might be construed as good or bad. I'm guessing that you're the same way. I mean, you've adopted a lot of the things that I had already done before you partnered up with me, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Calendar management, time blocking, these kinds of things. And I think it's not only made us all better business people, but I think it's made us better people. If you are really good at that shit, the constancy, the consistency, the transparency and authenticity, your time blocking, the respect for your calendar, your time management, you actually get to do more shit for you. Oh, look at this. We are getting a brief guest appearance.
That was my little brother and my daughter. She's sleeping. He's like, she's sleeping. I'm like, wait 2 minutes. He's deaf. So that's what he's doing.
Man. Okay. I know enough sign language to say I'm slowly learning to sign.
Yeah, slow down. That's a good one. Like,
yeah.
I need that one.
That's about all I know. But yeah, I think that the kinds of things that constantly come into our lives, like being parents and being friends and being spouses and being someone's significant other and being someone's BFF and all those kinds of things that don't have jack shit to do with your business, also get more time, more honor, more respect if you treat your business that way.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. And Jen, you may have seen it. It may have been Jimmy Hobson, who's a colleague of ours in, I think, Salt Lake. Jimmy's in Salt Lake. He said something like, if you really honor, if you're really good, if you really respect all that time blocking shit, then you actually get to do all the things like make your kids' soccer game and take them to the movies and go out on a date with your significant other, on and on. So, yeah, I think it's important stuff.
Yeah. Ironically, our weekly little tip this week is about calendar blocking.
Oh, cool.
And you didn't even know that. So
I didn't even, well, I wrote it. I
About a
recorded
month ago.
it about a month
Chill.
ago. We're a little ahead of schedule on the video blog. Cool.
Yeah, a
All
little bit.
right, so we'll cover that. But usually, and just so you guys all know, because this is all so tight in, there are a handful of people that know about the podcast, about our guests, how that leads to our roundtables that Megan had already mentioned over the course of this broadcast. But everything's kind of intertwined that way. And yeah, to be honest, I'll probably take an idea from what Megan told us today to write the next video blog script.
Right.
So thanks, Megan. Appreciate you letting me steal in your content there, whatever it is.
It's all the same. Just take it.
Right.
Yeah, I say a lot too, because my husband's an Enneagram 1 and I'm an Enneagram 7. And so ones, if you're not familiar, they want to do good. They want to be right. So my husband is so hard on himself, and he's a healthy one. So he's not so critical on everybody around him, but he will be very hard on himself. And so one thing that I'm a 7, and when 7s get stressed out, they reach to their 1 too. So I'm also like that in that way. So one thing we've been talking about as far as like our past is like things that we look in hindsight, oh, I should have done that, I should have done this. Take your lessons, but don't hold any shame, because you can't grow if you're full of like shame and sadness and all those sort of low things, from before. So I had just written that down, that I wanted to mention that, because that's just been something that we've really been like leaning on too, because we are very imperfect, and how we look on the outside. Like when you opened and said that, oh, your social media, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like we don't really know. So I just had that little note there. And I really appreciate you guys having me back for third time, and to be the season opener. This is so cool.
Yeah, and we've been excited about this one for, well, certainly longer than we've been off air, which I guess is 3 weeks now.
3 weeks.
Was saying.
Yeah.
So
For some reason,
been...
season 6 seems like, it's over half a decade now. That's crazy.
Wow.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like season 5 was cool, but for some reason, like season 6
breaking into the next. See, that's everybody. I feel like everything is like the next, like everybody's next big chapter is right here. Like,
yeah.
Do the work and show up and be there, be present. And do what you got to do, because these are fun times.
That's a big message. Be present, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, there's something big in the Enneagram 7s about, well, and certainly the 1s about beating yourself up over the past. So we'll talk about that again. You guys listen to Old Rafiki. You got to let the past be past, for sure. And I think, if anything, in recent years, we've learned that the big things in the long term, when it comes to the future, are pretty unpredictable. We live in a pretty wild world. So there's nothing better than being present and in the present. In fact, I think that's why they call it a present.
It's true.
Cool.
It's true.
And you're not going to know everything. Like, you'll never know it all. Just trust that you'll know what to do in the moment. And I think that's why that's just so, because if you're like, I have to know everything, then you'll never succeed. You'll never make that step. You'll never go. I'm not a managing broker because I know everything. I absolutely do not know everything. I need help all the time. I constantly need to ask for direction. And that's why I'm a managing broker, is because I'm not just letting people live in Megan world. Like, I know, because I know where to go to make sure everything's, so that was it's good, because if you're in the present and you're just like, okay, I just have to be here, like, you always have enough, and you can always do that. You're never, no matter what you're doing or where you are, you can always kind of balance in that and come back and just keep picking up, even if you have fallen before.
Maybe the next roundtable, we should have everybody take the Enneagram quiz before the roundtable.
Yes,
that's a brilliant idea.
And Megan and I can nerd out.
The two of you can nerd out and make fun of me anyway.
People are gonna think that we can like read minds or something, because we'll just do like we'll be like, ah.
That's funny. Although, again, you guys, we interact with a lot of people that are authentic and transparent. So if you know me the way that Jen knows me, for example, Jen would have no problem pegging my Enneagram, my disc, probably even my love language, right? When it comes down to it, because I wear that shit on my sleeve. So Yeah,
Well,
so
and
yeah,
you
you're not gonna have any
also-
trouble nailing those things down.
But you also are so good at having a culture of everybody being so connected at your company. So that's another part of it too, is like you can, if you have a close relationship, you don't need the Enneagram to tell you how somebody is, because they are. It's just a nice tool to help to break down barriers, to get to know someone. But yeah, you get to tighten it. You got, I mean, that's great. That just speaks to such an excellent work culture.
And we'll talk about this the next time you're on the show. But yeah, company culture has got to be priority number one when you're making this shift. So for all of you who are really listening to what Megan's been saying, really trying to hone in on how and when and why she made this shift, you've got to understand that your group's culture, your company's culture have got to be priority number one. It's yeah. Well, again, another subject for another time, and we'll probably get to see you before then anyway. However, before we start wrapping up and we let Jen do all the Jen things, I think that there's probably going to be some of Megan's words that fall on interested ears over this. Not going to lie, a big part of our viewership and listenership is in the real estate game. A lot of that segment is going to be local, certainly up and down the Front Range of Colorado. I think there might be some people that would want to chat with you further, Megan. How can they do that? What's a good way to track you down when you're not napping, nursing, feeding, wiving, mothering, all that shit? Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook. I'm Megan Bello on Facebook. My website is motionhomesgroup.com. My number is 720-393-0673. And you can always call or text me. And I will get back to you, and would definitely love to connect. Thanks. I'm excited. I think that's a website. We've got that. And then I do have Motion Homes Group is the Facebook page. We just switched to another one because now the residential is run by my husband. So that is still my Facebook page to connect with me, is the Motion Homes Group one.
All right. Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you. I know that there's this aura about you that keeps us bringing you back, and I guess we'll get to see you fairly soon. Jen, when is our next roundtable for all of our former guests?
Soon, I think.
Cool.
Mindy has those dates.
Okay, that was
those dates
to nail that down. Wait.
No, they're on all of our Adam. They're on our calendars.
Oh, okay. Cool. We could do a quick search. I think it was Einstein who said, "Never remember anything you can look up."
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So don't do that. All right, Jen, take us home now that we're already over.
Right. All right, guys, you can find out everything about us by texting tips to 63566. We will be announcing Social Media Day and Mile High Mastermind dates soon. Social Media Day will be in June, just debating how close to have it to 4th of July. But those dates will come soon. If you're interested in speaking at either of one of those events, definitely reach out to me. You can also get our weekly little tip. Past seasons of the show are at that link. You can get a copy.
Wow. Past seasons.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. You can get a copy of Adam's book, Just the Tips, book a free hour of coaching, all the things. So just text tips to 63566 and you will get all of the things.
Cool. Megan, thank you.
Thank you.
We know, since we do know you, we really know you. We know that carving out time like this in your roles, plural, on a Monday morning is no easy task. So thank you. Thank your brother for us.
Of course.
And I don't know how you managed to keep all the dogs quiet, but whoever controlled that, thank you.
They did excellent. That was, I know. I'm
really good.
I don't even want to open the door. Who knows what it looks like back there?
Just
sneak out the window. Just crawl out the window. Nobody will ever know. All right. Well, again, thank you. We'll get you back on the show as soon as we have an opening. Jen's already excited about that. We will certainly try to remember to talk about some of these things that we could just never cover in a half hour anyway. And for the rest of you, either watching the video cast or listening to the podcast, thank you for tuning into a very exciting episode of ours. Episode 1 of season 6, year 6. We have been doing this for a good long while. And I think that part of the lesson there is we do now have an incredible viewership and listenership. So if you are working on things that you're not sure are going to be valuable in your business, make sure you're giving it enough time. Make sure you're giving it the time and effort that idea, that technique, that tactic deserves. I will let you go at that. But do remember, you can always find us on Monday mornings at 10:30 Mountain Time on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube for our live video cast. You can catch the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and I'm missing one, Jen. I'm sorry.
Spotify and Apple. We're working on Amazon.
And we're working on Amazon's new podcast platform. And that's it. We'll sign off. Thank you all for watching. And Megan, again, thank you. Love you. And we will get to see you soon.
Bye, guys.